Hello guys, welcome once more to Prepclass online class, and in this video we shall be looking at 2019 physics question number 41 to number 45. My name remains Mr. Damzola Shutayo, and don't forget to also like our video and also to tell others about us and to click on the subscribe button so that you can get more content from us from time to time. We are looking at past question 2019 physics, and we are simplifying it. We are removing all complexities to teach you that physics is what anybody, even a crybaby, a little baby, can do. Now let's make it practical now. Now look at this question, number 41. Which of the following materials does not serve as a safety device in electrical circuits? You know, this is WAEC past question for 2019. So it's simply asking a simple question. This is a baby question. Which one is not for safety? Is it a connecting wire, or earth wire, or fuse, or switch? Now, if you look at this critically, it is very simple. Now, even a baby in primary school can answer this question. Now, which one is not for safety? Which one cannot protect you? Talking about electric installation. If you have wires in your house, which of these things cannot protect you? It's not for protection. Now, is wire a connecting wire? Is it for protection? Is earth wire for protection? Or fuse? Is fuse for protection? Or switch? Now, you may not be too familiar with some of these things, but I'll explain them. Don't worry. I will use a picture to explain them. Now, you've seen wire. Look at that connecting wire. Can the wire protect you? Now, actually, the copper rubber around the can, but the wire, the connecting wire, is not for protection. But let's talk about earth wire. Now, think of this. Earth, like I pointed to it, earth is the one in the middle. The purpose of, now, if you have looked at the wire before, they are for a three-phase wire, or there's something like that. So you will always have, actually two phase here now. We have live and we have neutral and we have air. That's two phase. Now, we have light, neutral, and earth. The live carries the charge. That means if you are connecting anywhere and you see a red color or something like that, that's live, and that means that you mustn't touch it, because if you touch it, it will shock you. That's where the current is really mighty. Then the neutral is the return of the live wire. So when you connect that live to something, when you are going back to the source, you will use neutral. But the earth connection is there to protect whosoever is working. So that means any wire installation that they make in your house and there is no earth connection in that wire, ask the person to remove it, because without earth, if that wire installation shocks somebody, the person will be shocked to death. Earth is for safety. So we are talking about safety device. The earth, now if there's earth connection, when the person is shocked, it will only release the person or throw the person away and go to the earth. It will move to the earth connection and go to the ground. But if there's no earth connection, it will hold the person closer and shock the person to death. So that means earth wire section is not for carrying anything. It's just for protection against the day the wire will decide to shock somebody, or somebody will touch the wire and be electrocuted. So that's the work of the earth, is for protection. Then the switch, if any electric installation is malfunctioning, you can just switch it off. Switch can also protect. When you switch it off and on, you can switch it off at any time. It's for protection. Then fuse also is installed in some device. Yes, the work of fuse is that it will monitor the flow of current. If the current is too high, the fuse will just trip. It will explode, or it will get damaged. So if I have a television now, or I have anything in my house that is mounting and there's a fuse in it, the function of that fuse is to check current. So if the current is too high, instead of that particular TV getting destroyed by the too high or too high current, high current damage things. Now, instead of that my TV getting damaged, the fuse in my TV, as the current is flowing in the wire towards the main setup of my TV, the fuse in the system will just burn. So when the fuse burn, it will protect my TV, but the TV will go off, but the fuse will just burn. So when the fuse burns, you can just remove it and put a new fuse there. So your TV is still protected. So fuse is for protecting device, so that the main guy will not get burned. So fuse can get burned, you can still remove it and replace it. It's very cheap. but the main device must not get burned. So the function of fuse, switch, earth are for safety and protection, but the connecting wire is not for protection at all. So the answer to that simple question is simply connecting wire is not a safety device, but fuse, switch, earth, they are all for safety. So that's number 41. Now let's check out number 42. Which of the following liquid has the highest surface tension? That means, you know, if you remember surface tension, if you want to remember surface tension, think of a liquid or like a bucket of water that is not moving. The water is resting. Now, have you ever seen water before resting before? And the surface of water will have something that looks like a little skin, elastic skin. Now, if you have seen water before that is not moving, that have been in a place for a long time, if you look at the top of the water, you will see something that looks like a film on top of the water. Yes, that is the function of surface tension. It makes the top of the water that is resting to become tensioned, so that a mosquito can walk on that water because of that film. Okay, the surface of the water has tension, and also you can drop a pin, a tiny pin on top of it. It will not sink, it is still on top because of surface tension. Now, which one has the highest? Now, how do we know about the highest surface tension of material? Now, the answer to that question is simply cold water. Now, I will explain to you. Now, why does cold water have the highest? You know, anything cold is close to solid. You know, the more solidly something is, the more the tension on that thing. Like, what I'm saying is that soapy water, you know, soap is a way of losing surface tension. If you've read that topic before, surface tension can be lost by putting soap. So, detergents, and they are all in the family of soap. So, if you add soapy water has lower surface tension. Then hot water by boiling also. Hot water has lower surface tension, but oily water also has lower surface tension. By putting oil, surface tension of any water will be lost. But if the water, you know, oil is a way of reducing surface tension. But if the water is frozen or cool, you know, if the water gets too cool, it will become block. That means it is under high tension. Okay, but if it is just cold, it is on the way to getting to become a solid block. So that means the cold water has more surface tension than hot water or any other material in the list. So the option with the highest tension is the one closest to solid state, and that is cold water. You know, it is close to ice, so it has higher surface tension, and that means option B the correct answer. And let's check out number 43. The nucleon and proton number of a neutral atom of an element are 228 and 92 respectively. Determine the number of neutrons placed in the atom. Now, if you have done chemistry before, you must have heard of proton, neutron, and electron. Those are subatomic particles. Okay, so we were given that the neutral atom, yes, has a nucleon. That means the mass number or the nucleon. You know, mass number is also called nucleon number. Okay, let me use I use a diagram to explain it. So mass number is also called nucleon number, and you know, mass number is just proton number plus neutron number, and it is always in the inside the nucleus of the atom. So then the number below is called the atomic or proton number. So if they've asked what is the proton number of that particular substance in the question, I mean that particular element in the question, you were given 298 on top, that's the mass number or the nucleon number. Then you were given 92 below, that's the proton number or the atomic number. It's still the same thing I'm saying. Now good. So the proton number is just 92. It is always the one below. But the mass number is both the proton number and the neutron number. Okay, and that's the two of them are called the nucleon or the mass number. Good. Now how do we find, now if two of them, proton and neutron, are the mass number, and you were given proton as 92, so to find neutron, just minus 298 from 92, that means remove the proton, then whatever is less is the neutron number, full stop. That means this question, the way to solve it is just to say the mass number minus the proton number or the atomic number, and that will give you your answer for neutron. That's all. It's just subtraction. Easy peasy, right? Now we have 238 minus 92. Nobody can fail this. This is straightforward. So that's just 146 neutron, and that's the end, and that's my answer. So but I went further to explain some things in the question. You know, if you were asked to give the electron number for a neutral or chargeless substance, the electron number is the same as the proton number. Now look at this now. Electron number is just 92. That's all. It is the same thing with the proton for any element that has no charge. No ion or charge. Yes, it is still the same thing. Electron number is just the same thing as the proton number. Is still 92, same as proton. Good. So now you can give the proton number from the number below, the mass number from subtracting the one above and the one below. The electron number is the same thing as the proton number as the one below, but there is an exception. Now, if the element has a plus sign, that means that plus sign can only affect, it will not affect proton, it won't affect neutron. It's the same way you will get those ones. But when it comes to electron, plus means you have to minus 1. That means the electron number will not be the same as 11. Now look at the one below. It's not be the same as the proton number. It will become, plus 1 means you will have to subtract 1 from 11. So your electron number will now become 10. But if it is minus, like you have oxygen is minus 2. So it will only affect that electron number. It will become, that's if you were given this kind of question, I'm just explaining further. So it will become, electron will now become, normally I have 8 below. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake there. That should become 8 plus 2. It is minus 2. It will become 8 plus 2. And that should become 10 as my electron number. Sorry, that's not supposed to be 18. That is human error, my error. So that should be 8 plus 2. Yes, so if it is subtraction in the power, it will become plus the proton number. That's 8 plus 2, making 10 as your electron number. If it is plus, it will become minus. That's 11 plus 1, and that makes 10 as your proton number. If you can remember this, then you are good with proton, neutron, and electron of any element given to you, given that the mass number and the atomic number are given. So the answer to that question is just a subtraction, and it's 146, and that is my neutron number. Now let's check out number 44. An instrument used to measure relative humidity is the what? Is it hygrometer, hydrometer, pyrometer, or manometer? Of course, you must have seen most of these guys, but for humidity, I always use a way to remember it. Hydro, when you are the topic, you are studying the topic pressure and density. For density, D for density, you will use an hydrometer, because hydro has D for density, D for hydrometer. So hydrometer is for density, but the sister or the other one in my mind, I call them sister, hydrometer and hygrometer. Hygrometer is used for relative humidity, making that the correct answer, A. Now I use that when I was in school, I do confuse the two of them, hydrometer and hygrometer. Hydro, but the day I will get it was the day that I told myself that hydrometer has D and density is D. It began from D. So density is measured with an hydrometer, while relative humidity is measured with hygrometer, the sister of hydrometer. Hygrometer is there for the answer. Manometer is for pressure and pyrometer is for other things. But generally, the answer to that question is on focus without distraction is hygrometer, and that is all we need in this question. So the correct answer, I just do that, got a picture of that. Then the correct answer to that question is simply hygrometer, and that is option A. Now let's come to the last question of this series. Now it says the area under a velocity time graph represents what? Now this is senior secondary SS1 question. Now in SS1 you were taught under motion that there's something called velocity time graph. Velocity is here, time is here. So on the graph, so that's what it is. Now when you let me just show you the diagram of that. So what we have here is, this is the diagram. Velocity is up, meter per second, time is below a second. Now anything that joins velocity and time is acceleration. So acceleration is velocity over time, and that's my A there. But it went on, from A, from going up, then it went straight. That one that goes straight is my is my uniform velocity, that it goes straight. Then it comes down at deceleration or retardation. It's still the same thing I'm saying. Deceleration comes down. So you must know this labeling. But the area inside this graph that I shaded is called what? Is S. It is simply called distance. And you must know that, because it's part of the topic, it's part of what we learn, and it's part of what we must know to be able to master this topic. So on this graph, A is what? Acceleration, V is what? Uniform velocity, A hash is deceleration or retardation. Then my S, the area inside the graph, is called the distance, and that makes the answer to that question simply distance, and that makes option D the correct answer. So this is where we will stop for now in this video. Don't forget to like this video so that you can get more content from us from time to time. And until we see next time, remember, physics is something you can do. It's easy, it's practical, it's something you just have to know a little thing, and then you are good to go. So take care of yourself. Bye for now.